What if I told you that to create the coldest place in the universe, you don't fight chaos, you actually use it? We are talking about reaching temperatures so mind-bogglingly low, they make deep space feel, well, kind of toasty. And the secret isn't just about removing heat, it's about tricking a system into becoming so perfectly ordered that it has to pay for its own return to chaos with cold.
So how in the world is that even possible? How do you engineer a spot that's colder than the absolute blackest void of interstellar space? Well, it's not about building a better freezer. It's about manipulating one of the most fundamental rules of the entire universe.
Using the technique we're about to break down, scientists have hit temperatures of just 0.00015 Kelvin. Now, to put that into perspective, the background temperature of empty space is a relatively warm 2.7 Kelvin. That means we're creating a spot nearly 2,000 times colder than the void between galaxies. And the key to this impossible-sounding feat isn't some special substance, but a concept.
The key, and really the hero of our whole story here, is a concept that governs everything from a shuffled deck of cards to the ultimate fate of the universe. It's called entropy.
So what is it? Well, the source material gives us a beautifully simple definition for it. Entropy is, quote, the degree of disorder. You can just think of it as a scientific measure of messiness.
Let's make this super simple. Think of a messy room. Clothes everywhere, books on the floor. It's chaotic, right? That's a state of high disorder, which means high entropy. Now, a tidy room, where every single thing is in its place, that's a state of high order, or low entropy. And here's the thing. The universe, left to its own devices, always trends toward the messy room. To create order, you have to put in work. Now keep this tidy room idea in your head because it's the key to everything that follows.
So how do we use this tidying up to get colder than space? Well, it all starts with a process that has a very fancy name, Adiabatic Demagnetisation. But let's just forget that. We're going to call it the Great Magnetic Tidy-Up.
Okay, so this graph from our source is our roadmap. It plots messiness, that's entropy, against temperature. We start our journey at point B. We've got a special material, a paramagnetic salt, that's already been pre-cooled. But on an atomic level, it's still a messy room. Its tiny internal magnets are all pointing in completely random directions. It's disordered, a total mess.
So the first step is to tidy this atomic room. We hit it with the super powerful magnetic field. You can think of it like a drill sergeant, just barking orders at all those messy little atomic magnets. It forces them to snap into formation, all pointing the same way. And boom! Suddenly, you have a state of incredible order, super low entropy. The room is perfectly tidy. And just like cleaning your room can be hard work, this process generates a little bit of heat, which we then neatly whisk away.
But now comes the truly clever part. We're going to make the system pay for its own chaos, and it's going to use its own heat to do it. Okay, first we completely isolate the system. Think of it like a perfect thermos. Absolutely no heat can get in and none can get out. In our analogy, we've just locked the door to our perfectly tidy room. It's sealed. And then we just switch off the magnetic field. Poof! The drill sergeant is gone. The atomic magnets are now totally free to do what they naturally want to do, which is to return to chaos. But here's the catch. To go from perfect order back to disorder, to mess up the room again, that requires energy. It's not free. And since we lock the door, that energy can't come from the outside. So there's only one source available, the crystal's own heat. The particles literally suck the thermal energy out of their own structure to pay for the freedom of becoming disordered again.
Going back to our graph, what's the result? It's this dramatic vertical drop from point C straight down to point A. The system goes back to being a messy room, a state of high entropy, but to pay for it, the temperature has absolutely plummeted. It has become its own refrigerator.
Now look, this isn't just a neat analogy. It's all grounded in some pretty hard physics. This equation right here, from the source, it quantifies the whole process. It shows exactly how the change in disorder, that's that delta S, is directly tied to the magnetic field and the temperature. It's the proof that this incredible cooling effect works just like we described.
So what's the final result of this whole process of magnetic tidying and then chaotic cooling? Well, you get temperatures that are, quite literally, colder than deep space.
The source material puts it pretty powerfully. Temperatures as low as 0.0015 K have been obtained by the effect. That is just an astonishing achievement, and it was done simply by manipulating the universe's fundamental tendency towards disorder.
Now you can't just do this with any old material. It requires very specific stuff. The source notes that they use typical paramagnetic salts, like iron, ammonium, alum, and cerium fluoride,
Basically substances that have just the right internal magnetic properties to play this entropy game so effectively.
So this leaves us with a final thought. We've just seen how we can harness the universe's love for chaos to create these pockets of extreme cold. So the question becomes, by turning chaos into cold, what other secrets of the universe? I'm talking about things like superconductivity or maybe entirely new states of matter. What else could we unlock at the very edge of absolute zero?